next topic, me and James and I will be predicting the Rotten Tomatoes scores for some of the major movies coming out for the rest of the year. So pretty much I got a list here. I'm gonna say to James the movies one at a time. He's gonna give his take on whether it'll be fresh or rotten, and give out a score. And if he wants, he can dabble into why. So first off is Blue Beetle.
Sorry, question. Are you gonna be doing your predictions?
Oh yes,
as
I
well?
will. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just so I know whether to ask you
Yeah.
as well.
We'll go one at a time.
Okay. So, Blue Beetle
Mhm.
for Rotten Tomatoes predictions.
Mhm.
I think that'll be fresh. I think it'll be around 73%.
73.
The reactions are good, but we've seen DC reactions before.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think it's around the same mark, that a little bit higher than Flash. Yeah, 73% I think is a safe bet for that one.
I agree
Right,
with you. I think it'll be fresh as well. I'm going to go a touch higher. I'm going to say it's going to be around about that 79 to 83% region. If I had to put a number on it, I'm going to say 79.
Yep.
79.
Nice.
But I think, I said it before, I think this could be like their version of Shazam, first one. So hopefully that sticks. The next one is Ridley Scott's The Creator.
Ridley Scott?
Is it Ridley Scott? No.
No. Gareth
Yes.
Edwards, yeah. Ridley Scott, where'd you get that one from?
I always get I think it's because I was looking at another movie on here.
Oh.
From Ridley Scott. We'll get to that in a
Yes, yeah.
second. But Gareth Edwards, The Creator.
Rotten.
Ooh.
38%.
38%.
Yeah. That now it's hard to know because it's so like it's such an original property that it's pretty hard to know. And I think when you have like big budget stuff like this, they can do really well, but they can also do really bad.
Yeah.
And maybe the vision is a little bit too much for critics in this one. And it looks nice, it feels nice, but the story might not add up. I don't know much about what it's based on, because I believe it's a novel, and I don't know how well received that is or how well known it is. But yeah, I'm taking a stab in the dark, and I'll say, did I say 37?
30 something.
I'll say 39. My official one, 39%. No, it's a ballsy one.
It is. That's interesting. I'm opposite of you. I think it's going to be fresh.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like, I love saying this as well, the palate cleanser to Hollywood at the moment. I think everyone's going to want to go see like original content. I think
we've been doing that for the last month.
Yeah, but palate cleanser, right?
Oh shit! Inception.
Yeah, I think critics will enjoy this movie more than they are thinking right now. I'm thinking probably around about that mid 70 range. I'll probably go 74% is where I see this film.
Yep.
Next one is Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Rotten or fresh, James?
This one's hard. I read something the other day that the cut is like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that sticks, then there could be something special in the works if a cut's that long. I think that's the first cut though. Ooh, I'm gonna say rotten, and I'm gonna lean pretty harshly at around 31%. I sound like a pessimist. I promise I'm not. I think it's going to be 31%. I think the low reviews will actually help its appeal, and people want to go and see how bad it is. I feel like it's going to be that kind of movie. Yeah, because its source material is just weird.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Me neither.
I don't think critics will get it either.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be in that rotten front. I'll probably say around about 41% for me.
Yeah.
I think it's just too niche of a property, and critics will just be like, what are we watching?
Yeah. They won't know, but all the kids are going to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it a horror?
Yeah, it is like a horror, but Five Nights at Freddy's is
it's
like a kid's horror thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It's how weird it is.
Yeah, I'm safe with my 40% sort of thing. Now the next one, Dune Part 2. Fresh or rotten?
I'm going to say fresh at 86%. I mean, yeah, I think that's probably a good one. Dune 1, 83%. So, yeah. What?
Sorry, no, I'm just looking at my show notes.
Did you?
No, it's fine.
All right. What?
I'll tell you later, man.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, you threw me off my game here. Yeah, Dune 2, I think 86%. I think it'll be a step up from the original, not by much though. I do think it is a world that some critics can struggle to fully invest in, and I don't know if they're kind of ready for Dune Part 2 because it looks like a completely different film. One was very slow, and this one looks like really fast and action packed. And we didn't get that in the first one, and that kind of change in tone and scale might actually negatively affect them. But I think overall, you're going to have at least 86% of critics loving this movie. I think it'll be around the 86% mark, but the average rating will be like 8.8, something really high.
Yeah,
maybe not that high, but like at least like an 8, I think. Yeah, it'll be really strong.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it will be fresh as well. And I'm probably going to go around about the 85%. No, 84%.
84%?
84%. I think the critics are not going to enjoy how action-based this film might be. I could be wrong, but I think what they loved about the first one was how it's a slow sort of slow burner type of story.
Yeah.
And I think if this one's just pure action-based and there's a lot of action in those trailers as well,
yeah,
that might just put them off a bit. But it's still going to be a fantastic movie. It's going to sound beautiful and it's going to look beautiful at the same time.
Do you think that they've put like all the action in the trailer to entice more people to come out and see it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because it could be still could be a slow movie, and we've just seen like all the action parts in it are just kind of stuff that's kind of briefed in the teasers and trailers. So,
and we have no idea on the runtime. Could easily be 3 hours.
It really could easily be that long.
Yeah,
I think it'll probably be around like 2.5.
Yeah. All right, the next one is The Marvels.
The Marvels.
The Marvels.
I can't remember what Captain Marvel was. I think it was in the 70s.
90s, I'm pretty sure.
Was it?
Pretty sure. Give me 1 second.
Perhaps I was wrong then. I wouldn't be surprised though. I am going to say that The Marvels is fresh. I think it's around a 70. I think it's a 75. I think that's kind of the safe bet. Critics are finally being a little harsher with MCU properties, which is good, and I think it will take a bit of a hit here. And yeah, just Marvel hasn't been on the game properly for a wee bit now, and I think that's going to translate to the Marvels. Obviously, I hope it's good, but I don't really have much hope. I think 75 kind of fits the bill, where it's kind of like it's enjoyable, it's fun, and then you go about your day again, kind of thing. Yeah.
I was completely wrong at 79%. The first one.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I think it'll be fresh, but I think it's going to be a lot lower. I think it's going to be around about the 65 range. I think Disney and Marvel have taken a huge hit right now that they can't get a win. Guardians is the outlier because you had James Gunn and that's pretty much his baby. But
even that only got like 80 something. Yeah, it's got 82, I think.
Yeah, but I don't. The trailers for this doesn't seem that enticing. We're getting 3 different Marvel sort of characters. Something like being bunched up together with no like real reason for or reason to, or we haven't seen them interact with each other. They were all just going to be shoved in this movie, and I think it's just going to be not quite a mess, but it's going to be a bit sloppy.
Yeah,
and it's going to slop its way to that 60 mark.
Slop its way there. What a saying.
Yeah. All right, the next one is the prequel for the Hunger Games. Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Fresh or rotten?
This one's a hard one as well. I think if it's good, I think it's going to be rated really highly. If I think it's bad, then I think it's going to be really bad. I don't see an in-between for this movie. And you look at the trailer, it looks good in terms of visually. It looks much better than I ever thought it would. And it seems like there's something in this that could be quite special. I don't know if it will work out the way, and we're still got to see on the story. And I know that the story it's based on is not as well received as the Hunger Games series. But I'm going to take a stab in the dark here. I'm going to go fresh at 88%.
Oh,
I think potentially it could be a Dungeons and Dragons kind of surprise.
Right.
Because I think that's around like 90%. I don't think as good as that, but I think it could be I think one of these movies has to surprise. and on the Rotten Tomatoes side of things. And I think that it can be one of them for sure. Yeah. What are you?
I think it's fresh as well.
Yeah.
I was very tempted to say rotten, but then I was like, oh nah. The Hunger Games sort of has that pull towards it, but I think it's going to be the low end. I'm going to go around about that 69% mark.
Right.
I think the prequel is not going to hit the heights or strike the same with as the original Hunger Games films did, and I think the critics will have that on the back of their mind because they're obviously going to compare this film to those past four, and that's not going to live up to that. Could be wrong, but yeah, 69% is where I'm thinking.
Fair.
Next one is Napoleon, directed by Ridley Scott.
There it is. Oh, yeah, sorry. I blanked it. I thought you were going to say something else. Napoleon, I'm going to say fresh. I will say 78%.
78.
I don't think Ridley Scott's the type of director that appeals to every type of critic. And that's not a bad thing. And I'm not saying that Ridley Scott's a bad director by any means. Just some directors struggle to connect with certain critics. We've seen it with, Denis Villeneuve, Dune at 83%. We've seen it with Nolan, Interstellar's like 73%. There's always that kind of stuff. And I do think Napoleon is going to be a good one from Ridley Scott because he is a hit or miss director at this point in his directing career. And I think this one will be a hit. I think people are going to love it. I think it's going to be good. But I think some of those critics are going to weigh it down. And I think it's going to be around the, what did I say, 78%?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think around 78%.
I'm going to go 10 points higher than you and go 88%.
Ooh.
That's fresh. I think...
Definitely could be, for sure.
I think the critics, and I think they're going to be so hooked into Joaquin Phoenix's performance that I think that's just going to be sticking with them for so long.
You're not going to... The controversy of Joaquin Phoenix being in the role?
I haven't heard any controversy about it.
Because he's not French, and he's French.
Right.
Yeah, so there could be that, and we know those kind of things do linger on in the minds of some critics.
I did forget about that.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to stick to my guns.
Fair enough. I like it. I respect it.
88% for me. Sign me up. Next one is Wonka. Pressure on.
I'm going to say rotten.
Rotten.
At 57%.
Oof.
Yeah. I don't know what this movie's going to be. If I was doing this at the start of the year, I would have predicted high end of the 80s, possibly early 90s. But seeing that trailer and then people were divided over it, I think you're going to see the same thing with critics going to be divided over it as well. There are some parts that look cool, visually interesting, and exciting. And there's some parts where it's like, what's so weird? And like just weird creative decisions. There's the controversy in that movie as well, with the Oompa Loompas being CGI Hugh Grant and not dwarves playing the characters. So that may play into things. But yeah, the fact that they do like a creative decision like Hugh Grant being an Oompa Loompa and CGIing the face onto him, it's kind of a warning sign to what's the rest of the movie going to be like. I think it's going to be a divisive movie among critics and audiences, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see your points. I think it's going to sneak into the fresh category.
Sneak?
I don't like sneaks. I see this being 70%. Yeah. I think the trailers have not done the film justice. I think you also have the Paddington director behind it as well, and he's a fantastic director,
Yeah.
Both Paddingtons are 100. No, they're both down to 90s.
I think they're 99s.
99s.
Yeah.
That is very fantastic. And I think this director is very capable of that. Hopefully it's not like a Damien Chazelle with Babylon where he completely botched it.
Yeah.
Because Damien Chazelle had a very good, filmography, Rotten Tomatoes score-wise. But yeah, I see it being around about that 70% mark.
Yeah.
Right. Next one is Disney. A lot is riding on this one, and that's Wish. What do you think of this one?
It's fresh.
Mhm.
I think it'll be fresh, and I think it will be 92. Yeah, animated movies, it's a lot easier to get higher on them. We've seen what happened with Puss in Boots and TMNT. 97% is, I don't know about that. But there are a lot of animated movies that they aren't hashed or they aren't graded very fairly, and they always get like a kind of like just a bump in Rotten Tomatoes for some reason. I mean, the Minions too. It's fresh at 70%. So there I think there is not a bias, but there is like a little bit of leeway when it comes to animated movies and their Rotten Tomatoes scores. I think they'll be represented in Wish. I think will be genuinely be good. So I think they'll translate to even higher success. And it's going to be up there with TMNT, Spider-Verse by the year's end. Don't think it'll be into the 95 plus, but the 90-95 range I think is a pretty safe bet for me.
Yeah. I'm with you in the 90 range. 90, I was going to say 19. I thought I was going to win that. I thought we were going to lowball it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, mate.
That's why I started laughing as you said 90. I was like, fuck. But yeah, I think this is going to put Disney back on the map. Like they've had so many hours this year. I think this is going to be like Disney at close to their peak, Frozen sort of levels, as we discussed on previous podcasts. I think there's going to be blow people away. And that short little teaser obviously shows, that it can capture that magic. Hopefully they keep that animation style off like that half-assed sort of hand-drawn cartoony sort of look, because I think that is so underrated nowadays because everyone prefers that 3D animation, but hand-drawn cartoons is just so fantastic. We saw that with Spider-Verse and now TMNT.
Yeah.
So 90%.
Fair enough.
And the next one, if it does not get delayed,
it won't be delayed.
It won't be delayed, is Aquaman 2. I forgot the tagline.
The Lost Kingdom.
The Lost Kingdom. That's how forgettable it is right now. But Aquaman 2. What do you think it is with everything going on with this film? Fresh or rotten?
Rotten, 15%.
Oh, wow, that low.
All right, look, I have my reasons. People, for the most part, like the first Aquaman, at least enjoyable, got 65%, and that was a competent movie. And I thought like some of the shots in it were stunning. I thought for the most part it looked like a really nice movie.
And it had $1 billion.
Yeah. Like, so there was so much going right with that movie, and only 65%. And you hear it's doing reshoots like a few weeks ago, and it releases in 4 months.
And we haven't seen anything. And the only behind the scenes footage or behind the scenes sort of photos we've seen was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, they were released ages ago.
Yeah.
And it's the last one in DCU, isn't it? It ends with Aquaman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Final nail in the coffin.
It ends everything. You got the Amber Heard controversy. They'll rub the wrong way on some critics, I bet. You're going to have rushed CGI. You're going to have a messy production. You're going to have a company that kind of doesn't care about this movie because they're starting fresh anyway. So something that they're just going to push out, take the L, and then move on with their lives. I don't see this movie doing anything impressive, and I don't see the movie being good. And I really just don't think anyone cares. I know that James Wan was, he was hospitalized recently. So he's going through his own stuff, and when you're going through that stuff, you're thinking more about your health than some upcoming movie.
Yeah.
So there's just too much mess with this. I don't see it getting better. I think DCU is going to end on a
sour note.
Very sour note.
Yeah,
a rotten note.
I'm with you, but not that low.
I'm being harsh with that one.
I know you are.
We'll see.
It's definitely going to be rotten, and I think it's going to be around by that 33%. I think you've covered it, like the controversy with Amber Heard, the messiness of like the multiple reshoots, the poor test screenings for the however many they've had so far, 2 or 3. I think it's just going to be an absolute mess of a product when we've seen its final form. They're going to have Warner Brothers chiming in with their 2 cents. James Wan just want to be like, let me just capture the magic of the first, But Warner Brothers going to be like, no, you have to do this and this and this, and you need to have this, this and this. Obviously, they're trying to trim it down to have as less Amber Heard in it as well. That's a negative because you're pretty much stripping out like a main part of this original story too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not looking good.
Well, I mean, like, remember the whole Ezra Miller thing? Like, you saw in a bunch of critic reviews, they were mentioning Ezra Miller's like past affairs and stuff like that, and you can tell it kind of went into the negative, perspective of the movie. So I think you're going to see that with Amber Heard here as well.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, Amber Heard's only supporting, not a main, whereas Ezra was a main.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with that role, though. It will be interesting.
All
but
right.
yeah, I have heard that it's not going to be delayed. Like, I think Warner Brothers came out and said they're going to release it anyway.
I wonder if they should show a trailer soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Just what a disaster it's going to be.
Yeah.
And what if it turns out good? That's going to be even more hilarious.
That is the definition of a Cinderella story. If it hits like 90, I'm going to say 85 plus, $1 billion, this is the greatest success story.
We're not rebooting anymore.
James Gunn, Peter Safran, you're fired.
Zack Snyder, come on back, buddy.
And no, that's not an invitation for your Snyder people to come in. But
names banned you.
Yeah.
But no, we can dream. At the end of the day, I think I speak for me and you that we want every movie to be good. But sometimes you got to look at how things have led up to the release and just know that
it's not going to be
not going to be good.
Yeah.
But we can hope.
Speaking of good,